Guys, welcome back to the garden. We are just before a rain, and directly in front of me we do have a ton of cyclamen. Now we did work on getting a ton of it in ground around 9 just the other day. In fact, you'll see it tucked in between different plants here and there. We've got another over here. Then we have one back there. In total, we put in ground around 9 or 10 of them so far, and we have 11 left to go. And if you look around, it's not our first time growing cyclamen. They are coming up since it's around the time for them to make an appearance. And so far, the only place they can really be found is right beneath the Japanese maple trees, as these are the only areas that I have them. So let's take a closer look at the hardy cyclamen. I'm gonna say that again. This is hardy cyclamen, meaning it is cold tolerant. It will come back for you year after year. In fact, it's a lot different from the ones that we are used to seeing placed indoors as an indoor plant. Those guys, they're really not meant to be used year after year outdoors, where the hardy cyclamen are. And there are like several different varieties of hardy cyclamen. Just as many other plants, you can find an accumulation of them, like probably hundreds, if not possibly over 1,000 or so, who knows. But before it rains, I'm gonna place these guys in some areas that I wanna try and get at least maybe 8 of them in ground before we get heavy rains. And if you're interested in picking yourself up some of these hardy cyclamen, they may or may not be in stores as of right now. So usually you can find these guys in the fall time, if not even in the winter time. I've found them in both times of year, either winter or fall, and picked them up. And they do cost quite some amount. And I do want to show you guys something unique about these plants, is that they do flower. And it's usually during the fall, if not even in the winter time. I've also seen these guys flower kind of right before spring, usually. And they will die back just before summer as the temperatures start to heat up, as they don't really like the heat too much. So if you place them in a dappled lighting area or a shady area, they may last a bit longer. But in full sun, they tend to go and fizzle out a lot sooner. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's starting to rain down pretty heavily now. When I decide to bury the hardy cyclamen, there is a little bulb. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a little bulb right at the base. I'm only gonna bury that less than an inch, probably 1/4 of an inch beneath the soil. I don't want it to be too deep, because that'll cause it to kind of rot out a bit, and we don't want that. By the way, these are also placed on top of a slope, so that means there's some good drainage going on here. And we'll water this in, and we'll call it good. So as I was burying these guys, I was trying my best not to cover up the flowers as well, so that they will do their thing, be able to go to seed and spread at least by the end of this year. I've had this actually happen the previous year. I put some new ones in ground, and what ended up happening was they already set seed and kind of like colonized the area. So the goal is to have this entire segment or section. So everywhere in this area, I want to be flowering with pink flowers during the winter time, which would be quite interesting to see. So here's a better example of what the bulb looks like. So this before I put it in ground. Again, you only want this to be about less than an inch, probably 1/4 an inch underneath the ground. So not really covered at all, really. Like it should be just about right beneath the surface. And again, you can see, so it's actually at a tilt. In this way, water will run off of this bulb, and that'll help it stay dry during the summer months, because these guys don't like to be overwatered or sitting in water. During the summer months, they like a dry condition during their dormancy period, which again is via the summer. When it comes to these cyclamen, I believe it's going to take at least maybe 2 to 3 years for these guys to really establish the area. And if you don't know about cyclamen, they do produce a lot of seeds, so that does help with the production of cyclamen, but those seedlings actually take maybe a year or two before they're able to flower, and that's if not 3 years. So the next location where I'm placing hardy cyclamen is right beneath this Seiryu Japanese maple tree, as well as in between a hydrangea that's underneath the Japanese maple tree and a fern. And if you know anything about hydrangeas, they do love water, so this will soak up some of that excess water and keep these cyclamen dry in this area. And then the ferns, they'll do with some water too, but these are dryopterous and they can handle a little bit of drought as well. So whatever excess water they'll take up, and the hydrangea will as well. All right, it's the next day because it started raining very heavily and I had to go back inside. But I walked outdoors and I saw 2 packages arrive, which we're gonna open those up for you. And before we do, I do wanna answer one comment that I got on YouTube from, I believe Super Snake. Super Snake was saying I have like a lot of large trees or Japanese maple trees and I need some dwarves similar to the King Mikawa Yasabusa. Now, I will show you one Japanese maple tree, and it is Mikawa Yasabusa. In fact, it's been here for the past 4 years, barely grows at all. We get very little growth on Mikawa Yasabusa each year. I think it's within like the inches. I never really get a foot of growth each year. It's usually far less, and it's easy to keep maintained at a smaller size. I was thinking of getting some other Mikawa varieties or variants, so that's something to look out for. If you look down below, this one's still wrapped. Because it's so small, I missed the wrapping on this Mikawa Yasabusa. There's a weed in front of it that needs to be removed. That's not a weed, that's not a weed. These are all just flowers and whatnot. But other than that, let's go into what I really wanted to show you. And what I wanted to show you is that we got 2 new deliveries today. One is from Color Blends, the other is from Easy to Grow Bulbs. So we'll break into this, and I'll show you guys exactly what's in here. They're hard to open. Well, I got them open. Here's what's inside, and it looks like they gave me a keychain. It says Color Blends. It's pretty cool. I guess I'll keep that. You can see the packages here. There's a ton of bulbs in each. This one says it has around 100 of the white squill inside. We have, this looks like striped squill. This is 100 here. I know we have more than 100 of the striped squill. That's 200 so far, because I just pulled out another one. 200 more of the striped squill. I think we have 400 total of striped squill, possibly, or 300. Then lastly, we have about 100 blue squill, which looks okay. And then off in this box here, oh, these don't look the absolute best. I don't even know what this is, to be honest with you. Oh, you know what? I was so confused. I was expecting this to be a different bulb order. These are hardy cyclamen. So now I know what they are. They weren't exactly what I was expecting. I think we have like a few different varieties of hardy cyclamen. These are the cyclamen silcium. Oh, I can't pronounce that. We have another one, cyclamen 3 bulbs. I think this is the random variety. I got like a couple of these random varieties which have 3 bulbs in each package. What's this other one here? This is the flutter mix. We've got the angel flutter mix, so that's 2 angel flutter mixes. We have another flutter mix, that's 3. And then what's in here? These are pretty big. Oh, these are more of the silcium. I don't know how to pronounce that. So I opened up a package because I was so curious to see what's inside. Here's what they look like. I would say be very gentle opening these guys up because they're already putting on new growth and you don't want to damage it. I'm just going to separate the varieties, put them together. We'll get these buried in the ground, and then hopefully we'll have flowers this season. I know they look really weird as heck, don't they? They're like little rocks or disc. That's pretty cool though. So we're putting all the same variety together so we know where what's going or what's going where. Thankfully, it's not too difficult to tell which side is the top. So this is the top with all the growth coming out, and then also the eyes, you can see where it indivots a bit. That's also the top section. Underneath, it's a little bit rounded and flat. Here's another, but this one doesn't have any growth on it, but you can still tell this is where all the new growth is going to come out. The roots are going to come from this base section that's rounded. Wow, look at this one. This one's got what looks like a flower bud coming up. So these are the heterofolium variety that's going inside the secondary box. I believe we have 6 of them. They should spread quite easily and colonize whatever area I put them in. Then here's the flutter mix. We're just adding the flutter onto this cardboard paper. We got to keep them together so we don't mix them up. By the way, again, this was an unexpected delivery. I didn't really expect these to show up at all. So I had no clue this was coming. But we have all the cyclamen together. By the way, I did put a bag of whatever varieties they are, pretty much where their locations are, so that I don't get them mixed up before planting. So if you can imagine, this little disc turns into this plant, and you can see the disc right beneath this cyclamen here. It's not as big as the ones I have here, but they are kind of decent sized. On a side note, I did pick up a few hellebores, which just like the hardy cyclamen, these guys are kind of like the harbingers of winter. So they will flower during the winter months, even in the snow. Both varieties, both the cyclamen and the hellebores. So if you're looking for something to add interest during the winter months, try hellebores or even try the hardy cyclamen. So I think what I'll do is I'll place this flutter mix like kind of cascading its way back here somewhere, or staggering it to where it goes behind the rows. And this way we'll have a bit of spread of cyclamen in this area, and then eventually they'll spread out further on their own. And do keep in mind that these guys don't need to be buried all that deep. Just beneath the surface, honestly, is all they need. They'll show up just fine. If you plant them too deeply, they may end up rotting. So those two are in ground. We'll get this one in. By the way, you do want to check and make sure that all these bulbs are healthy. And I'm going to show you guys that one of the bulbs did not come out as good. So I did contact the company. I'm going to see what they say, and I'll let you guys know in probably another video. And I'll show you what the bulb looks like. It looks pretty bad. is at. These bulbs are so adorable though. I like the ones that are healthy. They look super neat. I'm making sure as well that I don't accidentally place them the wrong way, because if I place them the wrong way, that's not going to be good for the bulb. These guys don't normally turn out well when placed in the wrong direction. So I thought I'd show you guys what the bad bulb looks like. It's terrible. Look, it's cracked. It's actually withered, and it has no actual, no sturdiness to it. So hopefully they at least try and compensate me. These bulbs weren't cheap, all right? I'm not gonna lie, these bulbs weren't cheap. You only get 3, and I think they were like $15 each or something like that. It was expensive. I don't know. And it's pretty unfortunate. So right now I am placing the heterofolia type in ground. I also saw somewhere that you want to place these guys 3 foot from different varieties. So if you have 2 different varieties, don't place them close together in the same facility. You want to place them at least 4 foot away from one another. And this way they don't compete and they don't take one another out. Okay, that's cool. And again, barely buried on the ground. I don't know if you've seen it, but that was way less than 1 inch. That was probably 1/4 inch under the soil, which is perfect. And the goal is to place them around plants that do take in a lot of water, because if they do, that'll keep these guys dry. In fact, there's a few roots over top of it already, so that should be fine. So I can't wait to see these guys emerge. I have to double check, make sure it's the top, but I can't wait to see these guys emerge. Hopefully these ones come up in the winter time with their flowers, although I do see them starting to peak a bit. One of these varieties are pretty difficult to put in ground because you see it's got some new growth on it already. So I'm trying not to damage that new growth, because that could be flowers, that could be foliage, and I wanted to utilize all of that strength that it took out of the bulb. And as the garden is right now, there's no doubt in my mind that we will have some great seasonal progression. So there will be something for every portion of the year, without a doubt. Oh my, I thought I was recording. I started opening up this package that just had arrived. This is the actual package that I was expecting rather than the hardy cyclamen. The hardy cyclamen was a surprise. That said it was coming a different date, but we have the crocus species romance inside this package here. We've also got the muscari Valerie finis. It's kind of a blue flower. We've got the fritillaria. I don't know how to pronounce its variety name, but it's going to be a burgundy yellow flower. And then the rest of these are just the fritillaria. We got at least 6 packages ordered of these. So yeah, this is what I was expecting rather than the hardy cyclamen. So that's cool. They all came at the same time, or same day. But I will see you guys in the next video. So catch you guys later. Peace.